So, Jason, QuantumScape stock was up a ton today. What's going on?
As of right now, we're basically at the end of the market day. The stock's up like 30.5%. It's been up as much as 36%. And the short version is the company announced something that probably is less of a surprise to people that follow the stock really closely. But I think the fact that they announced it when they did, as early as they did, has gotten investors really excited and probably also is scaring some shorts out of the stock, some shorts that have probably done pretty well over the past 6 months or so.
Yeah, that usually happens when there's big news. So let's dive into it.
All right, let's take a closer look. I'm Jason. He's Jeff. This is Investing Unscripted. This video is sponsored by The Motley Fool. I think we got a pretty compelling stock to talk about, but with The Motley Fool, you can get even more great stock ideas. Go to our special link. It's fool.com/unscripted. Every month, The Motley Fool comes out with new great stock ideas. Go to that special link, fool.com/unscripted. You can get access to The Motley Fool's 10 best stocks to buy right now. All right, Jeff, I'm going to share a couple things on the screen here. I'm going to start with the stock price today. Again, it's been just one heck of a day, but year to date, before today, the stock was down 20%. So this has definitely erased a lot of losses and pushed the stock back into positive territory. But if we go back to when it went public, stock is still way down. It was a SPAC merger. The stock skyrocketed a ton. It's come back down to earth. But the key is what's going on in the story behind it. So today, this press release came out. QuantumScape achieves major milestone. Cobra separator process enters baseline production.
So, Jason, I read the press release that came out today, but I have a question. What is Cobra and what makes it so special?
So the magic behind what QuantumScape is trying to do with solid state battery technology is the separator. Traditional lithium batteries that have a liquid or fluid that are not solid state, that are a liquid state battery, they're less safe. They weigh more, like all of that kind of thing. So the magic behind QuantumScape is using a ceramic separator. The challenge is manufacturing it. It's precision manufacturing. If you look at basically all of the executive hires that the company has made across its operations, even its CEO over the past year or so, as they've transitioned from the pre-commercial business to trying to scale up to commercial manufacturing. These are all people from the semiconductor manufacturing industry, right? So that's the kind of precision that we're talking about. The catch is that the prior technology, it's called Raptor, was a big innovation. It was a big step forward in being able to consistently manufacture that separator to the precise specifications that they need. The problem is the machine was very large and it's very, very slow. So Cobra, which is the new process technology, is a major step forward. I'm going to bring the press release back up because there's a couple of things in it that they highlight that I think really point to just how big of a step forward it really is. Okay, so this right here, so it's 25 times improvement in speed, 25 times faster, right? That is a massive bottleneck in the manufacturing process that they're going to be able to remove. And this is a big one too, space. So thinking about maximizing these facilities, streamlining the facilities, smaller equipment that's faster is hugely important. Now, I want to go back to the 2025 Q1 letter that management put out, because like I said, this was more or less expected that this was going to happen, that they were going to start bringing in Cobra, because they wrote about it right here in this second paragraph, talking about bringing Cobra in. This is what they told us. They've already placed purchase orders for key pieces of equipment and will upgrade the baseline continually. The plan had been bringing it into the baseline in Q2. Well, it's June 25th. This is the second quarter. But they're right on time. They're right on time, Jeff. Doing it this quickly definitely has surprised the market in some positive ways.
Now, I know QuantumScape has some backers. I know that Volkswagen is an investor in this company, but I also know that Toyota is working to develop solid state batteries too. How do you think QuantumScape stacks up to a company like Toyota, which is obviously bigger and has more resources behind it?
Yeah. So Toyota says they're working on solid state and they've released some things out there, but we don't have any real evidence to prove how close they are to commercialization. So I think we're going to see a lot of companies that are going to continue to move closer to bringing solid state batteries into the real world. But I do think this announcement from QuantumScape puts them maybe ahead of a lot of the competition, because these Cobra machines that are being installed now and that are now in the baseline, they're using them for, it's still pre-commercial manufacturing them, but they're manufacturing commercial cells that would meet the commercial standards of the third parties that they're manufacturing for, which is OEMs, including Volkswagen. And Volkswagen, we can't really undersell how important Volkswagen is as a partner right now. Volkswagen and QuantumScape, Volkswagen is the only OEM that we know by name is one of the partners. All of the other OEMs are still confidential. We have a big joint venture with Volkswagen where Volkswagen essentially is saying, we're going to front most of the capital. We're going to take on like the initial capital risk. We're going to leverage your IP and we're going to manufacture. So, and then we'll share in some of the rewards from the manufacturing. Now they're doing that. That's a great way to start getting high margin revenue in the door once that business starts. QuantumScape has been smart about it. They still have complete control over all of their IP. And this is a non-exclusive deal with Volkswagen. So what does that mean? That they'll be able to continue to monetize their technology with other OEMs and into other industries without limitations based on their deal with Volkswagen. That can include them at some point coming up with the capital to build their own manufacturing lines, doing other royalties and licensing deals like this with other automotive manufacturers, with other battery companies, maybe battery companies out there that want to get into solid state because this technology coming down the line to potentially they'll have to cede market share from their lithium production. So it really gives QuantumScape a massive amount of optionality. And the reality with Toyota is that we just don't know where it is. This is the same company that's been trying to bring a mass market hydrogen car to the market for 3 decades with hardly any success. And we certainly couldn't call it like wide scale commercial success.
All right. So you said earlier the stocks had a rough time of it. It looks like what I looked up here, it's down about 38% from its high a year ago, and it's down 96% since its high right after its IPO. So as an investor, what are you thinking about the stock after the announcement today and the big jump we saw in the market?
So I think as a starting point, we go back to when it went public. It went public with a SPAC merger. So the timing of that 2020, 2021 period, we all should remember how kind of insane that market was with these. There was so much excitement and exuberance around so many businesses. At one point, QuantumScape was more valuable than Volkswagen or Ford or General Motors, maybe even more valuable than Toyota for a while. I mean, the stock was so detached from its near-term prospects, especially because 5 years ago, it was 5 years away from where it is now, and it's still pre-commercial, right? So we have to almost just throw that out the window and evaluate the company that it is today, what they've accomplished, and think about the risk, reward, and the valuation. So one thing that we have definitely seen, I've talked about some things, some hires that they've made across the business, including a change in the CEO. So the prior CEO, the founding CEO, was one of the co-founders of the business, basically was a serial entrepreneur that helped bring the business from like a science lab idea at Stanford University to bring it public. They still have 2 other co-founders that are involved, including their chief technology officer, who has a pretty sizable stake, and one of their board members, who also has a pretty sizable stake, are also founders that are still involved with a lot of influence. And they've clearly said, we have to have people that know how to manufacture, that have done commercial precision manufacturing. And they've consistently brought people in to do that. And the timelines that they started laying out in like 2022, they've consistently come in really close to those timelines. And now we see here with Cobra actually starting to integrate that into some manufacturing lines in their fiscal Q2, doing it, within a couple of months after announcing that they would do it in the second quarter. It's great, right? So they're definitely still executing on those things. So I think management has a lot of credibility. The technology looks good. The joint venture with Volkswagen has happened within the past year. VW doesn't do that unless they see a clear path in the near term to commercialization. So all of those things say that the upside is legitimate and real. There's still risk. They haven't made a single battery and sold a single battery to a single customer. Volkswagen hasn't sold a single EV to a buyer with QuantumScape solid state batteries. So there's still tremendous risk that's there. But I think the risk reward profile has gotten extraordinarily compelling.